Welcome to a video about rural TDM strategies. My name is Joyce, and I am a project coordinator with the Office of Innovative Mobility. In this video, we will explore TDM in rural areas and what makes it unique. We will address barriers and special consideration for rural areas, TDM strategies, and examples of successful TDM implementation. Now, let's get an overview of what makes TDM in rural areas different than other land use types. TDM strategies tend to focus on reducing single occupancy vehicle trips, especially in more urban areas. However, in rural areas, TDM strategies are about improving mobility for transit-dependent populations. Remember, TDM is not just for urban areas, and the strategies can be adapted to different populations, settings, and needs. Next, frame the approach to TDM. TDM in rural areas is about increasing mobility choice, access, and convenience of transportation options, especially for transit-dependent populations such as the elderly and people with disabilities. The benefits of TDM include improved mobility, economic opportunities, access, improved quality of life, and environmental benefits. Let's look at some of the unique challenges for rural communities. Before we get started, let's hear from our subject matter expert, transit planner, George Gromke.
My name is George Gromke. I'm a transit planner, CDOT's Division of Transit and Rail, presenting on rural transportation demand management. So to start things off, TDM strategies have tended to be constrained to commuter-focused approaches, especially in more urban areas. But in looking at the broader goal of TDM is to encourage and facilitate travel behavior that makes more efficient use of the transportation network. The big takeaway here is that TDM is not just for urban areas, but can be applied to suburban and rural areas as well. And so looking at rural TDM strategies, first, it's important in framing the approach. So from the perspective of increasing mobility choice, access, and convenience of transportation options, and doing this in a manner that is context-specific. And so the big emphasis on context-specific strategies is because oftentimes in rural areas in Colorado, we have our more traditional rural communities where challenges are often around lower population densities, a greater distance between destinations, a lack of transportation options and limited transit service, a greater dependency on single occupancy vehicles. And oftentimes we see constrained or limited funding for transportation alternatives or for transit service. But also in rural areas, we also have our rural resort communities or our mountain communities where strategies may be more in line with that we see in urban areas. So as a result of land use, oftentimes emphasis on commuter trips. So for folks that are commuting from greater distances that work in these different resort communities. And we also oftentimes see, a greater density and more funding available for transportation and transit. And so this is an area where TDM strategies may be more around first last mile connections and around safety improvements for pedestrians and bicycle infrastructure and those different things. And so when looking at the approach to rural TDM, and building these strategies, it's important that those strategies are context specific with the final goal of reaching the overall benefits of improved mobility, economic opportunities, access, quality of life improvements, and the environmental benefits that we see with TDM. This is my overview of rural transportation demand management. Thank you so much for your time.
Barriers specific to rural communities. Rural areas often, but not always, have higher percentages of aging populations, lower population density, longer distance between destinations, less transit options. Residents tend to have less experience with public transportation, limited smartphone service, municipal boundaries, and funding and staff availability. Next, let's look at some special considerations for rural TDM strategies. Special considerations for rural TDM. Community engagement is important for TDM strategies. It can help you understand the needs of the community, provide opportunities to explain the benefits of the strategies, and provides an opportunity to coach residents through using new strategies if necessary. Partnering with local community-based organizations, or CBOs, is a great way to conduct outreach and understanding the needs of residents. Other considerations include right-sizing strategies through a needs assessment and program design. Creating a decision tree will help support this process. Finally, identifying funding sources and conducting a program evaluation after the fact are key to any successful TDM implementation. Refer to the second video in this series, Funding TDM, for more information about funding resources. Go to the CDOT TDM program page for more information or email DOT_innovative mobility at state.co.us for any questions. Thank you for watching.